It's 2021. America's government is sort of collapsing, and humanity collectively holds its breath, waiting for an end to the pandemic. So really, there's no better time to buy a Nintendo Wii, right? Naturally, we here at The Gamer are thinking what you're thinking. We've got Wii brain as bad as anybody else. So today we're gonna answer the question, should you buy a Wii in 2021? All those The Gamer stands out there will remember we've covered other consoles like the PS3 and PS Vita, and whether or not you should pick one up today. This video is going to be a little different, because there exists a wonderfully powerful and robust GameCube and Wii emulator, Dolphin. The Vita and the PS3 don't really have emulators at that level, so to buy a Wii in 2021 can be a complicated proposition that ultimately depends on who you are and what you want. Strap in because we're diving into that complexity now to finally answer the question we've all been asking, should you buy a Wii in 2021? The Nintendo Wii released back in 2006 as part of the 7th generation of home consoles. This was Nintendo's first major console release since the GameCube in 2001. But the Wii wasn't much more powerful than the GameCube in terms of its hardware, and the Wii was miles behind the Xbox 360 and the PS3. What the Wii did have was its totally new way of playing games, by way of the Wii Remote. Plus, the original Wii could play all of your GameCube games through backwards compatibility, though this feature was phased out of later revisions of the console. While it might not sound like much joylessly listed as a series of facts, the Wii was an unbelievable smash success that dominated the market, selling over 100 million consoles, which is significantly more than either the lifetime sales of the PS3 or the 360. However, most of its success came from its novelty factor and less so from legendary games. The most successful games on the Wii are, as you would expect, the usual Nintendo fanfare. Your Marios, your Smash Bros, your Zeldas, all of the franchises and games you would expect, except built from the ground up around the idea of motion controls. If motion controls appeal to you, there's a lot of games to love, but what's less lovable is the massive library of third-party games that were often demakes, or pared-down games with fewer features and simpler graphics, and tacked-on motion control mechanics. Looking back as a now-defunct device, the Wii certainly has fewer must-play games than other consoles of the time, but that is far from saying it doesn't have a library of classics. When the Wii launched, it retailed for a mere $249.99, which was much less than the asking price of the Xbox 360 and PS3. In the context of the hardware, though, the price point makes sense. With internals not much more impressive than the 5-year-old GameCube, selling the Wii as a premium competitor to the 360 or PS3 would have been a recipe for disappointment. Today, Wiis are cheaper than ever, likely because of the truly extraordinary number of them manufactured and sold. eBay is usually the most reliable seller today, and you can pick up an older Wii model, usually advertised as GameCube compatible, or a newer Wii model, or even Wiis with custom firmware and homebrew apps pre-installed. The condition of the consoles you'll find is usually good, if pre-owned, and price regardless of specific Wii model tends to hover around $100. Though, if you're looking for a sweet bundle or find a great deal, you may end up paying a little more or less. Wii games, too, are everywhere, so they won't be too much of an issue locating. Traditional brick-and-mortar places like GameStop are likely to have Wii games around, but for pre-owned stuff, we generally recommend eBay. GameStop prices for major Wii releases, even pre-owned like Mario Party or Super Mario Bros., can still be steep today. How much of a deal you can get on a game will definitely vary based on the game's popularity, but you should almost always be able to find games significantly cheaper than they retailed for originally.
Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
Once a console has more than a few years of life behind it, its homebrew scene tends to open up. The most popular thing to do with homebrew tends to be emulation, allowing you to play many more games on your console than you otherwise could. Other popular reasons for installing homebrew on your console are to rip your games, store them on a hard drive, use media players, file explorers, and install custom apps as well as mods to your games. All of this is entirely possible on Wii, and the process is not at all involved. Depending on your Wii, following along with the popular Wii.guide site through the Nintendo Wii modding process requires at most an SD card, flash drive, and computer. Ultimately though, while cool to add more functionality to something you own, the state of Wii Homebrew doesn't offer the widest compatibility with emulators. Emulation on the Wii doesn't get more advanced than the Nintendo 64 or Sony PlayStation, but that doesn't mean the Wii isn't totally capable of playing your favorites from the NES or SNES era and the like. In short, homebrew is a cool thing you do with your Wii, but it's probably not going to blow your mind either way. If you're really into console modding and emulation, there are better options. But if you've got a Wii, it's, as they say, Free real estate. While emulation on the Wii isn't the most interesting, emulating the Wii itself is quite interesting. The popular GameCube and Wii emulator Dolphin is capable of extraordinary things, and you can download this free application for yourself and play it on your computer with hardware you already have. Dolphin lets users play games regardless of region, run tool-assisted speedruns, cheat, and map GameCube controllers and Wii remotes to traditional PC controllers. Plus, actual Wii remotes and GameCube controllers are supported too, as well as controller expansions. Dolphin also comes packed with multiplayer, both emulated local multiplayer and Nintendo Wi-Fi multiplayer. The major draw of Dolphin is often in its graphical improvements though. Dolphin allows you to run games at whatever resolution you like, as well as use custom higher resolution texture packs. And seeing a Wii classic running at 4K 60 FPS with high-res textures is an absolute sight to behold. Higher resolutions allow for much more detail to come through, and even lower resolution textures can come alive at higher resolutions. What you can do with Dolphin is pretty legendary and extremely flexible, but it may take you some time to get it running smoothly on your particular setup. And if you're a gaming purist, this kind of experience can be far, far removed from playing the original game on its intended console, if that sort of thing matters to you. So, should you buy a Wii in 2021? The first question you have to ask yourself is if you like the idea of motion controls. Because if you or your friends and family do, and you happen to be a Nintendo fan, a Wii is not expensive and can be countless hours of fun. All the familiar Nintendo games are there on Wii, so whether you're playing alone or with friends, there will be loads to do. If you're in it more for the games themselves, and you aren't a huge fan of motion controls, the flexibility of an emulator like Dolphin will let you play games however you like on your normal setup at much higher fidelities. When the Wii swept the world, people generally fell into two camps. And that's still true today. If you're in it for the sheer entertainment value of it and want a cool new toy, the Wii still does that really well. And it's cheaper than ever. If you're just a gamer wanting to play more great games, an emulator might be your best bet if you have a decent enough rig. Though Wiis are not expensive, depending on what condition you're willing to accept and where you look, you might find one for next to nothing out there. If you got an next-gen console-sized hole in your heart, a Wii won't break the bank, and it'll be fun. If you're not sure if an actual Wii is worth the money, consider how faulty our memories can be. Games that looked amazing a decade ago might let you down today, if for no other reason than resolution and frame rate. Being able to play old games, especially ones locked to a singular platform, in unlocked resolutions and frame rates is an absolute treat. So make sure, even if you do game on an actual Wii, to check out how your favorite titles look in 4K on an emulator if you can. For more awesome content like this, please make sure to subscribe to us here at The Gamer. Thanks for watching.